It's a certified Canadian organic as well. That's exciting, huh? So it's good for the environment, good for you. Sustainable growing practices as well, and cruelty-free. So they check those things. So I think that's lovely and fairly exciting. So yeah. What else? They're also all very high quality. Some of these are. We have one that was a bronze medalist in the Global Tea Championships. So it's one of the best teas in the world. Very, very high quality. And then we have ones from everywhere. We have several that have placed in the Toronto Tea Festival as well. Pretty cool, huh? Alright. Let me get you set up and let's get your cups and everything ready and we'll start cupping all of our teas. Sounds good. Of course, the flavor of the peppermint ginger green is going to be very sharp, right? Yeah. It's going to be sharp. It's going to have really spicy notes from the ginger. And then from our wonderful, wonderful peppermint, it's going to have that refreshing, wake you up kind of lightness it's got a slight astringency from the tea plant itself, of course. It's really a wonderful, wonderful white and refreshing tea. So, I mean, you can understand why it placed in the top 10 of teas at the Toronto Tea Festival. And I think it was 2016. Yeah. And it's, of course, when you're drinking out of something beautiful, it makes the whole experience even more beautiful. So, we'll do our cupping of the peppermint ginger green. We start by putting our tea leaves, our dry tea leaves, after we've inspected our dry tea leaves. We go ahead and put them in there. And we add our water. And as you saw when I showed you the dry tea leaves before, when I was pouring your drink, they have large, beautiful pieces of ginger in them, and nice, long leaves with stems and everything intact. So now we're going to let this seep and sit for a little bit. We keep a lid on. When I do cuppings with, I borrow your cup for a second. Sometimes I do cuppings using these two, but what I do then is I will cover it with a plate or something like that. It has to stay covered so that the tastes and the aromas don't disappear while we're working on them. So this is more convenient for me to do cuppings because this requires a funny little amount of technical building. You're going to see in just a second. So the amount I put in here is actually, it's going to be 3 teaspoons of these tiny little ones. It's it's supposed to be a larger amount like that. It's actually exactly the amount that fits into this, which is why it's easiest for me to use this. I'll give that back to you. I know you were still drinking, but... So, for a green tea, do you know how long we let it seep? Or steep, sorry. No, you're close. Keep guessing. Almost. No, try again. I'm letting you guess because we're gonna have to wait here for a couple of minutes. So that's why it's totally reasonable to wait. So now that we have steeped our green tea for 2 minutes, it's between 1 to 3 minutes at 185 degrees Fahrenheit, we're going to go ahead and do our tasting. So we're going to take this bowl. Isn't it beautiful? And like I said, these are hand is to suck it up so that it sprays into the back of the mouth. And that's how we're doing that. So we evaluate the liquid, we sense the aroma, and we do like I showed you. Just like with wine, actually. Isn't that funny? So, the next thing that we're going to do, I'm actually going to set this to the side here, is then we're going to evaluate the wet leaves. We always evaluate the appearance of the wet leaves. So that's going to be turning this over. It's not supposed to have any liquid left in it. I'm supposed to get all the wet leaves here, but I was not fortunate enough to do that. So we'll just scoop them out. Then we'll take a look at them. Oh, you can take the little tea bag out and put it on the leaf. Yeah. Oh, and you can give it to me if you want. Thank you. I'll put it away. So you have to take a sip first and tell me how you think. What do you think? I think that's a reasonable assessment. Well, I'm glad you like it. That's good. So inspecting these dry leaves, you can see these beautiful large buds here, because this is a white tea. So it was picked, look at this. So it was picked before the buds had fully opened. And so you have just these long, beautiful, soft leaves. It's so rare. Absolutely gorgeous. And then mixed in here, you're going to have lavender. So this tea placed third place in the Global Championship in 2017. So this is a third bronze medalist out of the entire world. put the lavender in here. The lavender and white tea. This is our lavender and white tea cup. Now, the amount that goes in is the amount usually that fits in this. Okay? So that's why I have to do so many of this tiny little one. And then, of course, before we put our lid on, we're going to pour our liquid in. I hope you like that sound. I'll put on our lid. Alright, then we're going to let it steep. Now, this time, our hot water is 185 degrees Fahrenheit. And our steeping time is going to be 1 to 2 minutes because we have a white tea. So you steep it a little bit less. It's a delicate tea and it can become bitter. So we'll let that steep. Next, we're going to go ahead and do our cupping. Alright, so we're going to do this. Turn it over. And let all the water fill up the bowl. And the bowl is, of course, specially made to handle the dimension of this. Let me go ahead and remove this. Then we're going to do two things. We're going to evaluate the wet leaves. I'm going to go ahead and scoop them out. And of course our wet leaves have opened up a great deal more than our dry leaves were. So we'll take a look at those. And then we'll go ahead. And then of course we just set our wet leaves right on top of here. Just right on top, just like that. Okay. And then, of course, for our sommelier tasting, it's actually similar to how you do with wine. We're going to go ahead and take a spoonful and sift it through the back of the mouth. We need that flavor to spray all across the mouth. Now this flavor tends to be more very floral, obviously, right, with the lavender. Of course, you're not supposed to be going back for more, but it's so good. And there's with this particular tea, there's a lightness and a sweetness to it, absolutely without sugar. But it's light, sweet, a little bit. There's that hint of astringency. The lavender doesn't overpower the white tea, which can be a very fragile flavor, right? White teas are so delicate. They're good with things like desserts, like mango and things like that, with fruits that aren't going to overpower them, but can still balance with their flavors. So, absolutely delicious white tea. You can understand why it won third place after tasting it. Let's take a look at the wet leaves. So these wet leaves are very full and wide. You can see their beautiful texture here. And of course there's all kinds of fancy sommelier terms that we can use to talk about them. It's important to the grade. You can look at the grade of the tea. You can see these are very high grade. They're not fannings or dust, basically. They're very, very wide and they come out all the It's so different than a lot of our other pursuits, just very chill. Right away, notice how that smoky aroma just hits you. It is phenomenal. It is absolutely amazing. Alright, let's get some served up for you, shall we? Look at that. Hands down, one of my favorite teas, just so rich and smoky. So, for the lapsang sucha, we'll go ahead and do our cupping. I've already put some in here, and I'll put a little more until we have exactly the right amount. Now, it's about what contains this is about the right amount for cupping. And then, go ahead, add our water. Part of the lip by the teeth, so that nothing is straight, nothing comes out. Everything, all the tea is straight out. Now, for a black tea, we've heated our water. It's a little warm here to 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're steeping it for 3 to 5 minutes. The lapsang souchong is obviously a special smoked black tea. A Hojicha is a smoked green tea from Japan. And one day I'd like to stock that, but for now, we're stocking our Lapsang Sucha, which is, it pairs wonderfully with things like, meat, cheeses like Gouda, things that, would be enhanced by a smoky flavor. It's a fantastic tea. Probably one of my favorite teas because it's so very unusual. What do you expect with a tea? Really almost more of a dinner tea. Alright, so we've been steeping a recommended amount of time. We're going to go ahead and finish our cupping with our little tea bowl. Hold everything together as the liquid all trickles out into the bowl. Now this liquid is going to be dark, lovely and dark. There we go. I want to make sure that we've got all of the liquid out. There should be no more liquid because I want now to see if I can get my tea leaves out to the bottom of them. It's not happening, so I'm going to have to scoop them in. And that's alright. Because next we want to look at the liquid and at the leaves. So we're just going to go ahead and scoop our leaves on out. And we can look at them side by side. Our wet leaves are very special. Alright, so we'll take a look at those in a second. Alright. And of course, to our special tasting. And the color of the liquid is going to be very dark. I'm going to go ahead and get some of that up into our palate. And of course the slurp. The idea is to get the mist to the back of the mouth so that you get the full flavors throughout the mouth. Now this is going to be just smoky, oaky, very rich, not so bitter, but very much you taste like it's like you've drunk a barbecue. It's just fantastic and fascinating and amazing. Really interesting tea flavors. And a little bit of astringency in the aftertaste. Very, very bold. Very, very bold tea. Absolutely wonderful tea. And one that I'm very happy to have. Let's take a look at the leaves, shall we? So these leaves, can you see them? They're so dark. Again, like the other ones, we have a fairly high grade here. The picos are the higher grades, right, where you have the full leaves. And of course, as it's wet, they become all unfolded and unfurled like that. And you get to see the full beautiful size of them. This is our organic green matcha. Look how beautiful. Now for this one, actually we won't do a cupping today. I'll show you how beautiful the quality is. But what we'll need to do is do a beautiful full-length hour-long video that'll be coming soon about all the different ways you can use this beautiful product in smoothies. You can use it in to flavor cream cheese. You can use it to flavor ice cream. This is just perfect for all the antioxidants to put in your smoothies because it is a powder and a dust. It only comes in the pouch. It does not come in the tins because while we are when we ship by air, unfortunately there is a tendency for the tins under pressure to spill and it escapes. So that's not whisk, 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 whisk. And whisks are going to be available very soon because they have wonderful ASMR quality. And we'll do a full session just on matcha, and then we'll talk about the tea ceremony. And if you like that enough, we'll actually get information for you. I have access to Ceremonial green matcha at this point. This is just standard matcha green that you can use. Matcha is basically the powdered version of Japanese Matcha, which is great tea. O is the honorific that you assign to things that are great or valuable. So, more coming. At this point, you can order this for your smoothies. Let's take a look inside and you can smell it. Smell how lovely it smells. Honored to be able to show you. Look how bright green and alive that looks. Let me get some out here for you onto our little sampling flyer here, just so you can see how beautiful it is. Look at that. It's like gold, so I don't want to use too much of it. But take a look at that wonderful fine powder. It's like paint. Look how beautiful that is. See that? And as you can smell, it's got that wonderful just brightness, almost grassiness to it. Really, really light. This is what people are using. It's, the big craze right now to put this in your smoothies. People are using it to flavor ice cream. It's just absolutely delightful, and you can feel, if you feel between your fingertips, this is an incredibly fine and beautiful powder. So, absolutely wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. It's almost meditative. Actually, we had to learn in my tea sommelier classes, we had to learn the history of tea. And there's, this legend that the founder of tea, finder, the person who discovered tea was an emperor, was meditating under a bush. And the tea leaves came and fell into a boiling pot of water he had next to him. And he tried it, and it helped him to reach enlightenment. What a neat story, huh? And our next tea is going to be this solid chai. And you can get it either in a tin, depending on what size, of course, that you want. masala spices. Of course, I'd be glad to demonstrate a cupping for you. I've already put some some of our lovely masala chai in here. I'm going to go ahead and put the last bits and go ahead and add water. There we go. And it looks a mess right now, but it'll be lovely in a moment. Of course, out here we need to put the strongest lip forward, because these teeth and the lip of the lid are going to keep our tea from spilling into our cup when we do our cupping. Now, chai tea is tea plus spices. So you're going to have cardamom in here, you're going to have masala spices, you're going to have cinnamon, cloves, a bunch of lovely things. And of course the main ingredient is a black tea. The temperature at which we steep this is going to be 212 degrees Fahrenheit, or boiling essentially. And we really let black tea get strong, 3 to 5 minutes. Chai tea always automatically tastes a little bit sweet, and because it is a blended tea where the black tea isn't the main focus, it tends to be slightly lower grade. Now, grade of tea doesn't always have anything to do with flavor. You could have a wonderfully flavorful quality tea. Grade just has to do with whether or not it's big leaves or little leaves, essentially. So, we'll just sit and wait. Alright, it is time now to finish our cupping. So we're going to go ahead and take a drink. Hold on just a second to do this properly. And we just let the tea pour right off into there. And of course, it's just the right amount. The bowl is made for this, so that it won't overflow. Try to get some of that last out there. Wonderful. And what I'm going to try to see here is then the next thing we need to do, you and I, for our lovely cupping, is we're going to need to take a look at the wet leaves, which we will As you can see, this was handmade, so it's got some differences in size. Sides. And of course, we'll take a look at the wet leaves in a second. Just go ahead and put them on top of this. Now it's time to take a look at the liquid. We're going to evaluate. And the color is very, very dark, obviously. And it smells so spicy and rich. Obviously, these are from India. Our teas for this particular blend are from India and Kenya. Absolutely lovely, lovely, lovely tea. So we'll go ahead and do our little slurp. Oh my goodness. It sometimes makes me think of pumpkin pie. It's almost got that kind of just Thanksgiving category, quality to it. Obviously, you've got the cinnamon, you've got the cardamom, you can taste all the spices, you can taste the freshness of them. At the same time, this complex richness, right? Absolutely wonderful. So, and of course, that sound is supposed to be, I'm supposed to be spraying the inside of my mouth with all of these wonderful flavors so that we get it through the entire palate, not just the tip of the tongue. Because our taste buds are distributed throughout our palate, right? Wow, how wonderful. Alright, let's take a look at our leaves. And of course, we'll take a look at our wet leaves. Now, these are a lower grade, which again has nothing to do with quality or taste. It just means they're smaller. So these little smaller tea fragments and spices are going to come in better if you use something like the little silver ball, right? Rather than, as a strainer or something with small holes, rather than something with larger holes, of course. It's not quite small enough that this is dust for a bag, but a little more similar to Fanning's. And you've got these beautiful spices throughout here. Another awarded lauded tea that we are organic jasmine green. Let's get this into a cup. Don't you love the squishy sounds? Of course you do. You are a person of refined ASMR taste after all. Just gonna get you some lovely little scoop there. Look at those leaves. They're pico, they're full, completely full leaves. And of course, the jasmine has a very strong floral scent. course, the jasmine has a very strong floral scent. And of course, I'd be glad to show you a cupping. Absolutely. So the first thing we'll do is we'll take some of this wonderful jasmine green. Just put it right. You can hear the sounds if you want. Just right into our cup. The amount that goes in is about the amount to fill one of these. Exactly. And then our next step, of course, is to add the water. And then, of course, put on our little lid, making sure our thick lip is going towards the front where the teeth are, because that'll help us. There's a little bit of tea in the lid. There we go. This will help straighten things out. Now, this is a green tea, so we're going to go ahead and steep this at 185 degrees Fahrenheit for about 1 to 3 minutes. There are pots that you can use that will tell you how hot something will get. And then, of course, once you can also kind of get a feel by ear feel. The idea is you must know it's just not quite boiling for green and white and oolong, and then of course black is boiling. So, but obviously it's easier if you have either a thermometer or a pot that'll heat it to the right temperature. Of course, in the old days they wouldn't have had that, right? So the ancients and the sages, they would all have done this by look, right? Just knowing not to get it too hot. And this method of cupping is a European method of cupping, not particularly traditional for how we would cup by my ancestors, for example. But this is how we cup this is how tea sommeliers are supposed to cup. So, we'll let that steep. Now that we've let our green tea steep for about 3 minutes, we're going to go ahead and finish our cupping. And we're using those little teeth to make sure all the water, all the tea now goes directly. And it's important that this stay covered because you don't want the aromas to escape. Obviously, this is a jasmine, so it's got just these wonderful, wonderful, fragrant aromas. Absolutely so alive and beautiful. And unlike the lavender, it's not as sleepy an aroma. It's almost more invigorating and romantic. The jasmine. And of course, it has slightly different medicinal properties. So we're just getting our red leaves out here onto the lid so that we can take a good look at them. Got a little bit there on the side, forgive me. But I think that is going to be our little spoon, and we do that so we can get this splash of flavors all the way to the back of the mouth. We want flavors across the entire palate. Careful, don't kick the table. Across the entire palate, and it's so good. I shouldn't do it a second time, but I am. And this is kind of a golden greenish color liquor. You won't be able to see it at that angle, but it's absolutely wonderful. Warm, fresh, vibrant. It's got these grassy tones to it, but with the floral overtones that are so alive from the jasmine. It's really, I don't know, it's almost difficult to describe, but since it is my job to be able to describe it, here I am. And there's a little bit of a sharp finish, gentle aftertaste as well. Really a lovely, lovely tea. If you like jasmine, it's, the best you can have, and it's smart of them, my supplier, to blend the jasmine with the green, because jasmine is a stronger taste, and the lavender, which has an almost fuzzier, softer taste, with white, which is a much more delicate tea. So they know what they're doing. Alright, let's take a look at the wet leaves. So now if you'll take a look at these beautiful leaves, see how they open up as they become wet. And these leaves have some buds with them. These were beautiful whole leaves, fairly high grade. So look just how beautiful they are. They have a very bright color. Obviously they're not dull or old or anything like that. Just really nice, high quality tea. The organic cream Earl Grey, made with black tea, and some beautiful, beautiful osmanthus petals, which of course is what makes it Earl Grey. Bergamot is what we would call it, and some organic flavoring that helps it to taste beautifully creamy. This is one of the most popular blends from my supplier, actually. You'll have to give it a try. How tingly. And then look, just the moment you open the bag, smell that. It's so fresh and milky, and you've got those citrus notes from the bergamot. Absolutely adorable. Let's get some out to show you. Look at that. Those are beautiful.
No picture in it. Okay.
the sounds, I'll bring it closer so you can hear it better. So this good tea into our little cup. And this is a hand-designed cupping set built for me by Brian, actually. Isn't that lovely? My little Brian, my wonderful husband. Alright, then we're going to get some liquid going here. Oh, but I shouldn't hit the paintings on the wall, should I? Alright, then we'll go ahead and make sure that our thickest lip is facing forward. And then we're going to let it steep. Now, this obviously is a black tea. So we have boiling water at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're letting it steep for 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. And obviously this is one of the most popular blends in Europe. Earl Grey, obviously. Now that our lovely tea is finished steeping, let me go ahead and we'll go ahead and do the rest of the cupping. So this bowl comes over like this, just like that. All the water pours out in here. And then we'll look at the liquor, or the liquid, and it's dark, dark amber, really like a black, is what it is. And you smell that. Here, smell. Just kind of wafted towards you like this. Exactly. Just like that. You don't actually have to put your hand in the cup, but waft towards you. Perfect. You can kind of smell those beautiful citrusy notes. It's absolutely wonderful. I keep wanting to say adorable, but there's just that citrusy gentleness that everyone likes about Earl Grey. But there's a creamy addition, obviously, to this one. I'm just getting all the wet leaves out onto the lid so that we can look at them. And then you can touch them a little bit too, kind of see what they're like. That's what we do, is we're grading and cupping to kind of see. Of course. Absolutely. So we will take this to the side.
No picture. Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll just set that so we can see it. Let's put this to the front. And obviously a perfect sommelier wouldn't spill, right? This is how you know I'm not quite there yet. We're working on our sommelier. We've taken our classes, but we still have work to do. Alright, so this liquor we're going to go ahead and taste. Now, what we do is we take our spoon and actually try to make a mist in the mouth like this. And that's just shooting all that liquid in a spray throughout the entire palate so that you get it across the parts of the tongue that taste bitter, that taste sweet, so that you have everything. And this one is just so naturally sweet, and I shouldn't go for a second, but I just have to. Because I love that. You've got that citrusy hint. You've got that natural sweetness. You've got that natural cream. Doesn't need any sugar. Doesn't need anything. Just sweet and lovely. Really, one of my favorite blends. I'm very, very excited to have this for you. Of course. Let's take a look at the wet leaves. So these are the full wet leaves of the Earl Grey. And you can see like a CTC grade. They're not as big and long, right, as some of these picos. A lot of these black tea blends will be more similar to like a CTC, which has been cut and ground up by a machine. So, of course, all of these are organic and cruelty-free. So, look at that, just nice, dark, beautiful leaves. Absolutely. And there's, I don't know, tea is wonderful. Now, tea is from the tea plant, right? White, green. I think you and I sat down and did a tea, lesson. We'll do it again probably, but white, green, black, and oolong, and then the very rare yellow. That's all different levels of oxidation, picking and treatment of the Camellia sinensis plant. Exactly. Exactly. It's the, and other things. So herbal infusions are not tea, they're infusions technically. Yeah, it's something we get wrong a lot in English. Excuse me, specifically in American English, because really it is that tea as we know it, like chamomile tea is not tea, it's just chamomile, the plant. Same with chrysanthemum and everything else. It's an infusion. Oh no, that's not a tea plant. That's just a flower. I'm so glad you could spend this time. I'm glad you enjoyed it's not a sponsorship, it's similar to a sponsorship, but it's an affiliateship where you get your special link and people can sign up and get tea through your link, and then you get 10% of each proceed, and then 20% profit goes to the supplier, and then the rest of the profit, everything that I make from our little digital tea shop, actually, at least 10%, if not more like 30% of my income goes to supporting these different organizations. So it's cool because it's tea that does good, and it's relaxing. It's good for you. Yeah, absolutely. And what we can do is we can